What's up, beautiful people? Jen here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Jenna Lee, aka Jen Sparkly, commander of the Sparkle Army. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel and hanging out in my little corner of the internet. I hope you'll stay. Today is Friday, and you know what that means? It's time once again for This Week in Sparkle. If you're new, This Week in Sparkle is my every single Friday series where I touch on different news stories that have occurred throughout the week. Sometimes it's something that affects me directly. Sometimes it's just a news story I feel passionate about. Sometimes it's just some funny stuff that I want you guys to see. But as always, I want to know what you guys think about everything. So, as I always do, I will include links to every single story that I share today so that you can read, watch, whatever, get a feel for it, learn about it if you aren't already familiar with it, and share your thoughts in the comments. My number one rule, as always, in the comments, be respectful. If you can't get your opinion across, and in no way can you not avoid being a troll, being sexist, being racist, being misogynist, being hateful, being homophobic, etc., etc., etc. If you just can't help but be that way, you will be mocked, blocked, and forgotten. Uno, dos, tres. We don't play that here. The Sparkle Army is also a family, and we respect each other here. We're a very welcoming family, and we want everyone to be a part of the special thing we have here. But we're not just going to take bullies in. That doesn't fly here. As always, the opinions that I express in this video, all prior videos, and all forthcoming videos are my opinions and only my opinions. Nothing I say is a reflection of any of the beliefs of any of the companies for whom I may be a promoter or ambassador. That said, what happened this week? Let's rock and roll. First things first, the FOSTA SESTA headache. Quick catch up, FOSTA SESTA is a bill going through in an attempt to crack down on sex trafficking. However, this particular law has been pretty much blasted by everyone who works in the sex industry. And when I say sex industry, that is prostitution, but it is also people who work as webcam entertainers, people who work in the pornography industry, nude models, strippers, burlesque performers, any job that basically sells sex or the idea thereof. Basically what is happening here is it's lumping all of those into one category, and in turn it is forcing people who normally have a safe haven to work in. It's forcing them out on the streets, and in turn it is marginalizing people who are already marginalized, and it is putting at-risk people further at risk. So I'm going to include some links to some of these little articles so that you can really get a feel for what FOSTA and SESTA is about. At the heart of this is the debate about Backpage. Backpage is a website that was once run by Craigslist that basically, in a nutshell, whether it was their intention or not, has become the go-to online haven for prostitution, escort services, as it were. And because of the spotlight that FOSTA SESTA is shining on these individual businesses, it is making it harder for legitimate sex workers to get work, and it's making it easier for those who move in the shadows to move in the shadows. If you take away legalized online cam girls, sex shows, escort services, you're basically forcing the problem into overseas accounts that can't be prosecuted and are out of the reach of the law. You are putting men and women who would normally have the anonymity of the internet to be able to kind of double back and check on potential clients, be able to do a bit of like an email search, look at their social media, get a feel for who they are. Working in the sex industry, you are some of the most at-risk people for rape, robbery, murder, simply because of the line of work you're in. So, I'm all for cracking down on sex trafficking, but going the route of taking down and marginalizing those in the legal sex fields is kind of the opposite of the right way to handle that. Read up on this, follow the links that I share, and let me know what you guys think about that. Next up, just for fun, just after that was a very dark story. This week on Hot Ones is John Mayer, and if I may, for just a few minutes, we're just going to have a little editorial moment here. I've been in love with John Mayer since like 2002. Maybe, no, 2001, when No Such Thing first broke. I went out and my boss at the job I was working at the time let me borrow the CD Room for Squares, and I wore that CD out. I got that, and then I found in Outside Wants In, his EP that he had released prior to that had like earlier versions of Neon, and one of my all-time favorite John Mayer songs, Comfortable. I could go on for hours about how much I like John Mayer, but I will keep it short and sweet. He's on Hot Ones this week, and he's awesome. Next up, as we know, Bill Cosby was found guilty of sexual assault. His wife has spoken up on the matter, Miss Camille Cosby, comparing his being found guilty to a lynch mob. Said it's mob justice. And I can't put it any better than Philip DeFranco did. Yeah, when you've raped about 60 women, I guess they could technically form a mob, and now they're getting justice. So yeah, I guess it is mob justice. You know, throughout this whole thing, a lot of people have held their tongues as far as Camille Cosby and where her involvement lay. However, I know that there's at least two different stories from his victims where they were given a number to contact him, and it was the direct line to their bedroom, and Camille would answer the phone. Imagine that. Imagine that, being assaulted by your boss. He gives you the direct line to call, and his wife answers the phone. Considering that it's 60 plus women coming forward, considering that it's over decades, I think it's safe to say that not only was she aware of what was going on, she was complicit in it, and her hands are not clean in this matter at all whatsoever. The cherry on top of the giant crap sundae that is the idiocy of Camille Cosby's statement, she had the audacity to compare Bill Cosby and the outcome of this trial to Emmett Till. If you don't know who Emmett Till is, look him up and you'll understand why I am so infuriated by even the assumption, even just saying it off the cuff. The audacity of that woman knows no bounds. That is what happens when you have money, power, and unchecked arrogance. He got his, not nearly enough. but she'll pay for her sins too. I don't know how. I don't know when or where. Karma has a way of dealing with things, and God works in mysterious ways. So, whatever will be, will be. But Camille Cosby is a guilty woman. Here's a fun story for you. If you lived in Indianapolis, Indiana, and you were on the interstate at around 9 a.m. a few mornings ago, you may have hit a tiny, huge financial windfall. Evidently, while traveling on the interstate in Indianapolis, the back door to a Brinks armored truck flew open with bags of money flying out onto the interstate. Cars were pulling off the road, people were jumping fences, people were grabbing handfuls of money. Evidently, it was somewhere in the neighborhood of $600,000 that flew out of the back of this truck. Now, they've released a statement, Brinks that is, saying, in a nutshell, to whoever took the money, if you bring it back, we won't file charges. Once again, I got to quote Philly D on this. A nameless, faceless, multi-billion-dollar corporation goofs up and lets that kind of money go. Brinks is insured a zillion times over. As far as I'm concerned, they made a contribution of $500,000 to the ground. Thank you for your contribution. And thank you, Philip DeFranco, for that awesome quote. And one more story I'm going to cover. It's YouTube related. Now, I know a lot of you guys have seen Poppy, and her, I guess, manager, as it were, Titanic Sinclair. Well, several years ago, Titanic Sinclair first came on the scene in YouTube with a different protege of sorts, a young, pretty blonde girl named Mars Argo. The character was very similar to the Poppy character. They created music together, and apparently Titanic Sinclair was an incredibly jealous and easily angered boyfriend, and Mars Argo attempted to end the relationship but keep it as a working relationship. But after he broke into her house, messed with her text messages, messed with her social media, broke all of her wine glasses, she decided, this is too much, I'm out completely. So she ended the relationship, she ended the working relationship, she formally severed all ties. Shortly thereafter, Titanic Sinclair, whose real name is Corey Mixter, meets a young lady named Mariah Pereira, who he fashioned into Poppy. Mariah has naturally dark brown hair. Now she's platinum blonde. She also speaks in a much lower timbre, as videos prior to her being that Poppy can attest. However, since becoming that Poppy, she speaks in a much higher monotone voice, because it's very similar to the speaking voice of Mars Argo, also known as Brittany Sheets. Brittany Sheets, her clothes were seen in some of the pictures of Poppy. A leopard print jacket that belonged to Mars Argo was seen being modeled by Poppy. When I first came across the That Poppy character and learned about Mars Argo, my first thought was, yeah, she's not going to take that line down. This is blatant copycat. There's no way that this Mars Argo chick is okay with what's happening here. As it turns out, my gut feeling was right. Mars Argo, aka Brittany Sheets, is filing charges against both Corey Mixter and Mariah Pereira, Titanic Sinclair and Poppy, for theft of a character, ability to represent oneself, copyright infringement, and several other things that are incidental in the building of a character, the creation of a character, the intellectual property of that character. And I'm very curious to see how this goes, because Poppy is a very, very clear imitation of Mars Argo. There are differences, naturally, because they're different people, but there are numerous side-by-side photographs that show you that an idea that was first done with Mars Argo has since been done with that Poppy. Videoed ideas sync up, photograph, concept art pieces sync up. Look at that bright sunlight right on the boobage. Love it. But yeah, let me know what you think. I'll link to a story that kind of covers everything in an outline form to give you an idea of exactly what's going on. You guys let me know what you think about that, because it's a YouTube thing, and it does affect creators on YouTube and the rights to intellectual property. And if you create a character, how much ownership do you have of said character? So this is going to be a very interesting case for us to follow, because it will, good, bad, or otherwise, it will likely set some precedents for future collaborations and work on YouTube. As always, I end this weekend Sparkle with a cute animal video. This is a compilation of animals sneezing. Enjoy. That's this weekend Sparkle. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. As always, all of my social media links are in the description box below. Follow me on Twitter. Hang out with me on Instagram. Hang out with me on Snapchat. I promise I'm a blasty blast. As always, all of my coupon codes are in the description box below. Get yourself some new makeup, new clothes, new shoes, new sunglasses. Baby, I got it all. Go shopping and save money. It's on me. Also, my Patreon link is live. Do you like me? Do you like what I'm doing? Do you want to see this channel thrive? For as little as $1 a month, you can help make the Sparkle Army sparkle that much harder. If you want to make a one-time donation, the PayPal information is in the description box as well. Alright guys, I love y'all. I will see you tomorrow night for the Sparkle Army Saturday night hangouts. And until then, you guys stay beautiful.